Hey gang, it's Paul with Step Back. Welcome back to our channel. If you've been following Jordan and I along on this remodel, you know we've been kind of working in the dark here, gang. We have our trusty LED light here. We've been moving around the project, but I think it's time to get some real lights in here. Cooper Lighting reached out to us and we partnered with them on their Halo lighting brand. They sent us 5 boxes of lights and we're gonna install them and go from this to this. Let's get started.
All right, gang, so we have partnered up with Cooper Lighting. They have supplied all of the lights for this entire project. So huge shout out to the team at Cooper Lighting. We're very grateful and excited about this new partnership. These guys are always pushing the envelope, innovating the lighting game. Dad and I are always amazed at how drastic the transformation is with the lighting that these guys provide. And you know what? They are pretty easy to install. I mean, even I can do it without Dad's help probably. So we've got these 5 boxes right here, lots of lights. We're gonna crack these open and see what they sent us.
All right,
nice.
Look at that, man. Brand new lights. And we love these things. It's a 4-inch LED, direct mount, recessed downlight, repositional driver. We're gonna show you what that's about when we put them in. It has a regress lens to reduce the glare and up to a 9-foot ceiling. That's perfect. We have 9-foot ceilings in the dining room. And then over on the side here, they're airtight, dimmable, like we said, very wide flood, so the beam spread is 93 degrees, and they're suitable for a location like in a shower. These really check all the boxes for us. That's cool. Can't wait to start putting those in. But let's go over there and check out the other box they sent us and see what's in there. So they sent us these fixtures right here that are made just for cathedral ceilings, HL6 all slope. Let's check these out. Look at that. Got the nice gasket here. It's IC rated. IC means insulation contact. So that's the fixture. There's 2 more boxes. Let's see what's in those. Okay, well these look familiar. There's our baffles for our slope ceiling lights. And these must be the bulbs, or as they call them, it's a light engine. Check that out, an all slope LED light engine. You want to open one of these and see what a light engine looks like?
Yeah.
You can just tell that was engineered really well. Look at that thing. And it's heavy. All right, let's put all this back in the box. I don't want to do these right now. I want to put in these 4-inch cans. So before we start installation, we have one big step we got to do first, and that is layout. I probably spend as much time on layout as I do on installation because it's really important. Most of these older kitchens have one huge light right in the middle. It casts a shadow when you're working at the counters. Not what you want. That's in the past. We've got modern lighting. And what I like to do, I like to put it right here. It is centered over the edge of the counter. So when you're standing here, the light's coming straight down, no more shadows. So in this direction, the center of the light is right here at the edge of the counter. You could go a little farther back if you wanted to. And in this direction, it is centered on this 4-foot width of cabinets. Right here in the middle, which also happens to be right here in the middle of this one. So that's gonna be perfect. Over here, on these more narrow upper cabinets, they are centered right where the doors close. Here, and again, same distance back from the edge of the counter, so the light's coming straight down.
But what about the stove? There's no light for the stove.
Well, we have a nice hood come in with LED lights, but these things have such a big beam spread, I think you can cook that steak all day and not even need the hood lights. So let's talk about this peninsula. Now, we're not talking about the support that you all love, we're talking about the lighting. So at first I thought I wanted the light for the peninsula right in line with these two, but sometimes you get that runway effect. I didn't want that in this house. Sometimes it's appropriate. I just didn't want them all in a straight line. So I put the light directly over the peninsula, and this is how I did it. This peninsula is 32.5 inches wide. Half of that is 16.25, and that's where this dot is. 16.25 from all the edges. And I transferred that dot to the ceiling, and that's gonna be the location of our light. Now we got the peninsula figured out. We wanted one more light over here for general lighting. And at first, I had it the same distance from the beam as the one over the peninsula is. But then when I stood over here, I felt like it needed to be centered on this TV niche, and that's what I did. I moved it over this way, so now when you're over there, this light appears to be centered on that. That's kind of how I roll. Every kitchen is different, every room is different. You have to do it how you like it. Now normally, Jordan and I try to center everything, make it perfect, but with lighting, it's a little different. For us, functionality of the light sometimes is gonna trump the aesthetics of the light. So here's what I mean. You walk in this back door and you look at that window and that vent is centered perfectly on that window. Not so much with the lights. To me, it's more important that this light is directly over the peninsula with an even pattern than over on the side lined up with those. Does that make sense? So let's talk about joist layout in the ceiling. This is the light we're gonna use. Obviously, if we drill a hole and there's a joist in our way, now we've got a patch. This is already painted. I don't want to patch that and call Josh back out here. Now, Halo does make that 1/2-inch thick wafer or puck light that will go across a joist. We chose this light, this regressed lens light, because we love the way this baffle looks. We think it's going to pick up on the light in the living room here in the cathedral ceiling, and all the baffles are going to match. So right here, if I wanted the light where that piece of tape is, and I found out that there was a joist there, I would just make a decision. I have to move it to the left or to the right because my joist run this way. And if your joist runs this way, you're gonna have to decide, do I want it closer to the cabinet or further away from the cabinet? It's just part of the process, guys. There's no right or wrong. It's what works for you and at your project. All right, guys, before we just start cutting holes in the ceiling, I actually have a brand new tool for that. I have an old one. I broke the tooth on it, so I bought a new one yesterday, and I wanna try it on a scrap piece of drywall before I make a mistake on this finished ceiling. Alrighty guys, here's what I picked up yesterday. It's made by Ideal. I have a really nice one, but I busted it up. So this one was only like $40. I figured I couldn't get hurt for that. I got a piece of drywall over there. Let's check it out. Check that out. All right, I like that, gang. Nice clean hole, drilled really fast. Let's check our light, see if it fits. All right, that fits great. I think I'm ready to install these. All right, gang, let me show you one last tip before we start drilling those 4-inch holes. We showed you this tool before, and I'm gonna use it again. I'm gonna go in the attic. Jordan's gonna get up here on the ladder, and he's gonna use this and poke a hole through the drywall at the center of this light location. I'm gonna triple check while I'm in the attic that the center of that hole is far enough away from a joist or any blocking before we drill that big 4-inch hole. Now, if you watched our crown video, we've already laid out the joist. And I know I'm between them, but I always confirm with this method before I crank up that drill, because the last thing I want to do is a drywall patch. So I'm gonna get my mask on, head in the attic. Jordan's gonna poke this hole through there. We'll confirm it, and if it's good, he's gonna drill that hole. All right, it should be about right here. All right, there we go. There's our test hole, plenty of clearance, so Jordan can go downstairs and drill that hole. All right, guys, putting this in couldn't be any easier. Here's the driver. The electronics are in here, and this area is for the splices and the wire. You have a 1/2-inch knockout on either end, which I've never used, but it's good to know they're there. I always bring one cable in here and one cable in here. So I like to have 2 cables at each light location, one coming in, one going downstream. If I had to have 3 or more, I would use the knockouts. But since I only have 2, I'll put one here and one here. I use a flat-bladed screwdriver, just pop that up. Let me put that aside, strip these cables. We know the circuit's off. We double checked it, triple checked it, so we're good to go. I like to leave about 1 foot of sheathing on the wire. I'm gonna cut it here, strip it. All right, I stripped this one about 3 or 4 inches long. I'm gonna come over to this one, remove the sheathing in the same spot, remove the paper around the ground. And this one I'm gonna strip a little longer, and I'm gonna show you why here in a second. So these 2 wires are coming into the box over here, and they're gonna lay in the junction box towards the left. I'm gonna have 1 cable coming in here, make up the connection, another cable coming in here, and I'm gonna loop the wires around and plug into these connectors. That's why I left this one a little long. The other thing I like to do is pre-bend this, so now I don't have to bend it once it's in the box. I'll try to point this to you while I do this. And you're going in, just like that. When you close the cover, it'll hold the wire. Just put this one in, just like that. Now I'm gonna bend these around, and you can see how they're all about the same spot on the left-hand end to plug in these connectors. They're actually a little longer than I want, so I'm gonna cut them off and strip them. And then all we gotta do is plug them in. We'll start with the grounds, just push them in, and they'll bottom out. And you actually have a visual right here that you're all the way in the connector. See that? So I'm gonna take the grounds, I'm gonna tuck them way in the back. There we go, there's the ground. Now the neutral's next. And I've stripped those about 3/8, 1/2 inch. What you don't want is any conductors showing here. You want to make sure insulation's covering all the conductor, you don't have any shiners. So I'm gonna push that in there. That's it for the neutral. All right, now the hot. Now I'll neatly put this in the box, close the cover. You heard it snap, that's all there is to it. We're gonna make sure this is on the setting we want. We want it at 3000 K. All right, the only thing on this threaded connection, there's a slot here and a corresponding tab in that one. You just have to align them. It won't go any other way. And then there's also 2 arrows here. See that? That's even easier to get them oriented right. Screw on the cap to secure the fitting, and you're almost there. Now you'll notice these 2 keyhole slots. When we're all done, I'll go grab all the drivers and junction boxes and I'll screw these to the joist so they're not buried in insulation. Not that I'm worried about it, but if you have to go back up there and you decide to change this to light setting, it'll be much easier to find these. Just put that straight up. There we go. I'm gonna hook one, bend the other one back, and it's gonna wanna go straight up, just like that. Sweet, that's all there is to it. All right, we have 13 of our Halo 4-inch lights installed. It made a huge difference in this project, and these 13 lights pull the equivalent of 2 60-watt incandescent light bulbs. So that's gonna be a huge energy savings for them here at the house. But now it's time to tackle the cathedral ceiling. Now we could install these, but here's the issue. If we mount these on that slant, the light is gonna be shining directly in the middle of the room. We want it shining straight down. So the good folks at Cooper Lighting sent us this adjustable fixture made especially for cathedral ceilings. Now these are really made for new construction. We're gonna show you how to put them in this ceiling. Not a big deal. If it was new construction, you would put them up here, you have captured nails, nail them into your joist, and then you can slide it perfectly on these support rods, get it right where you want it. When you're satisfied, take your linements, put them in that hole, crimp that to lock them in place. Or you could also tighten that screw and that would also lock them in place. Like I said, the nails are already captured. That's gonna be a big help for me when I'm in that hot attic. I won't have to fool with the nails. I can just drive them in. They're also adaptable to T-bar ceilings right here. So these are Halo's HL612 ICAT lights. IC means insulation contact, AT, airtight. So you can run your insulation right up to the side of this without any worries. And it's airtight, and they have this nice gasket that's gonna compress between the drywall and the housing. So that's super cool. So another thing about this light, you always install the junction box on the up slope. So the mechanism inside can point the light down. If you mounted the junction box on the down side of the slope, the light's gonna be pointing at your wall. Not too good unless you have a piece of art over there. Or a stud pack poster you could light up. And here's how you adjust it inside. When you get in here, there's 2 wing nuts. Once they're loosened, this whole piece swivels. And there's even a scale on the side, 6 on 12, all the way up to 12 on 12, so you can just dial in your roof pitch. I already know that's a 6 on 12, so we'll dial that in. And the final adjustment on here is this nice brass thumb screw. When you loosen that, this whole mechanism turns. So if you had a roof that was not only sloped, but at a compound angle, you could still get your light straight down. Or if your light was here, and you wanted to shine on something here, you could angle it over there. You could probably even put it close to a wall and have it wash a wall if you had a piece of art there. So they really thought of everything on this light fixture. So let's take a look at the junction box right here. Cover comes off with a simple spring clip. These are called cable traps. You open that little door, your Romex goes in there, and when you put the cover back on, it traps the cable in the box. It also has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 knockouts for MC cable or conduit if you're in commercial work. And it's the same wiring as on these lights, hot, neutral, and ground. The little lavender and gray wires you see back here, these are for low voltage dimming, so we're not gonna use those. Here's the trim kit. Remember, that nice white bevel matches the bevel inside of here. That's gonna look awesome. And here's our light engine. Look at that. That looks like the Saturn F1 rocket, doesn't it? All right, now that we've walked you through all the features of the light fixture, let's come over here and talk about layout. Like we said at the beginning of the video, when we laid out the 4-inch lights, layout is really the most important part to us, because if your lights aren't in the right spot, you're gonna regret it for the rest of the project. So we're gonna grab our laser and show you how we lay out the lights in this cathedral ceiling. All right, we set up our laser to the center line of the fixture. We determined that we wanted the center line of the fixture to match the top of the grill. We were gonna line them all up, but we wanted them a little higher to get the light more towards the middle of the room. So if you don't have a laser line, you're gonna have to get up here with a chalk line, something like that. Now the next thing we need to determine is where they go this way. So we know that there's a joist on either side of this AC registered duct box. So about 16 inches is gonna be the next one. So I have a joist bay from 32 to 16. I wanna be in the middle of it. So I'm just gonna measure 24 inches from the edge of that grill, make a mark on my laser line, and that is the center of our fixture. There's our mark for this light. Let's go behind us, mark the other light. Then we'll move our laser over there, the same distance from the beam, which I've already measured, 52 down. We'll transfer those marks and lay out the other two. All right, guys, we got all our holes laid out on the ceiling. We're almost ready to drill them out. But let's come over here to the peninsula, and I want to show you this guy that we bought yesterday to drill the 4-inch holes. Now, the reason I bought it was because I thought my cutter tooth for this really nice one I had was broken. So we used this and it did okay, but we found out a couple of things. The plastic dust shield, it catches a lot of the dust, but it leaves kind of a dust halo around the lights. But the real damage came from this bar. As you finish your cut and you're not careful, this bar can dig into your drywall. So I'll have a couple of those to fix. So I got a little frustrated with that, and I went home, I pulled this guy out, and this thing's awesome. And you can see, it came with 6 cutters. That's where they go, and they're all gone.
Why are they all gone?
They break.
Oh, wow.
So one of the reasons that we check to make sure there's no blocking is if you hit a block with this, it's gonna snap that cutter off. That's been my experience.
Can you replace those? Can you buy replacements for this?
So
or do you have to go to a museum?
There's not even a name on here.
Right.
If any of you guys are interested, look up the patent. Maybe this thing is being produced, but this thing is so well engineered, check it out. So here's all the parts. This little rod goes in here, and this is left-hand threads, and these 2 discs clamped together. And check this out. See all these little parts right here? They screw into the end of this beam as a counterweight. So it's balanced when it's spinning. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see the numbers here on the beam? I need 6.5. That's my diameter I want. There's 6.5. You just line that up to the edge right here on this part. We're gonna tighten this disc so that beam doesn't move. Just squeeze like that, get those left-hand threads tight. And then if we wanted to, we could put a counterweight on there. What do you think, bud? That looks good, huh?
I think that'd be good.
I don't want it vibrating on you too much while you're drilling those holes.
Well, after using this crappy plastic one, I think I'm
This is gonna
pretty,
be great.
yeah.
So that goes through there. Spring goes on. Then you can see when you start drilling, this is gonna bottom out on the drywall first before the cutter hits. So you have a square hole, so you're not attacking the hole like that. And then as you push the drill, you compress the spring and the cutter bar goes through and cuts the opening. All right, Jordan, this is your first time using that tool. You sure you want me to video you?
That's not
Or do you
true.
want to practice a few times?
I've used this tool a bunch of times. What are you talking about?
Have you?
Yeah.
All right.
Back in the day, before it was under construction, under repair. Yeah, this was the first one. I'm pretty confident. You just got to get it up to speed and then just be nice and confident. Always wear glasses because you don't want the drywall dust in your eyeballs.
Yep.
Also, the clear bowl is nice because I can see my pilot hole that we made
Right.
with the screwdriver. So
Right.
we're just going to go right in there and full send it. Here we go. And it's that easy.
Perfect.
And that sharp blade makes a world of a difference.
Yep.
There's no struggling. It's just nice and easy, nice easy cut. And that little dust ring that we talked about, you can literally just wipe that off with your hands right here.
Sweet.
And we're good.
Yep.
Right on.
All right, we're almost ready to go in the attic. We want to do everything we can on the floor where it's cool so that we don't have to do that step in the attic. And one of those things was to adjust the brackets for a 6/12 pitch. These things are really cool, the way they engineered them, so that the light will shine straight down no matter what the angle of your roof is. We know that the angle of this roof is 6/12, but yours might be 8/12, 12/12, or even a low pitch roof like 3/12. How do you determine that? Let's head up here. I'm going to show you 3 different ways you can do it. All right, the first method is with a framing square and a level and a tape measure. I'm holding the level parallel with the blade. Now this blade is 24 inches long. Put my tape measure over here, and I've got 12 on the tape measure, and this is 24. My roof pitch is 12 over 24. The rise is 12, and the run is 24. And we can simplify that fraction to 6 on 12. That's one way. Second way, get a bevel gauge, put it on your roof, and get the bottom of it level. Get a speed square, see where it says pivot. You're gonna put the blade right at the pivot and see how it's lining up with that 6 right there. That's a 6 on 12. A 12 on 12 pitch roof, that's a 45-degree angle, right? If I did it right, it should be the same as that. And there you go. The third most simplest way,
The fastest way.
just ask your phone, what's the pitch on a 6 on 12 roof?
Come on, guys, get with the times. Just get your phone out and do it this way.
It's gonna tell you, what is it, 26.57?
5.7.
There we go, 26 degrees, perfect. Now that we've confirmed 3 different ways, this is a 6 on 12 roof. Let's head up in that attic, bud, I'm ready. We got a little cloud cover, so it might be a little cooler right now.
3 degrees?
Yeah.
Might make the difference.
Yep. All right, gang, back up here in the attic. Let me walk you through it. So our electricians, when they did their rough in, they threw me a switch leg up here. Here it is. It's long enough to reach the first fixture, which is gonna be this one. We're on our catwalk we made. It's already paying off huge dividends. It makes it so easy to walk up here. And now we can work right off of it. So I think what I'm gonna do, since the junction box is gonna be way up here, I'm gonna wire it first, put this in the opening, and nail it off. So this is, again, the switch leg from the switch. This will bring 120 volts in the attic. When you hit the switch, it'll power this one, and this is 14-2 cable. So we'll run another one to the one behind you, and we'll go over the ridge on the cathedral ceiling and catch the other two.
Cool, let's do it.
All right. We're gonna pre-bend that. Oh, that went in great. Easy. 1, 2. Get a good shot of that. All 3 are in. Alrighty, gang, we got them all wired up. They didn't take long at all. We thought we were good to go. Remember, we used that screwdriver to make sure we were clear of any obstructions down here. I wasn't even looking at this guy, and it's right in my way on 3 out of 4 lights. That's how it goes for me, gang. 3 out of 4.
Yep, and it's like, what, 120 up here?
It's gotta be.
Yep.
So why don't we go downstairs, cool off a little bit, and then I think the best thing is Jordan can just pass me the recip right through there, and I'll cut them, do all 3, and we can nail these off.
All right.
All right.
What?
I think I left my reciprocating saw at the Sunken Chapel project.
When we did the demolition?
Yeah, remember? We left
Yeah.
it in the foyer. We said, are we gonna need this? We're like, no, we're in finish work installing lights. We don't need a reciprocating saw to install can lights.
Right.
And even my circular saw is over there.
All right, well, I mean, we got to get these 2x4s cut.
Well, it's too much for that little buzz saw. I'll be up there for an hour. And this will take me 2 hours.
There's no way you're bringing that dull husky blade up there. 120 degrees.
It's wearing me out just thinking about that.
We got to have something. I've never seen you with a pole saw. Why do you even have this?
So I'm supposed to meet a gutter installation contractor today on another project, but he never called. And while I was there, while he was working, I was going to cut a few branches for the homeowner that are sitting on the roof. I think it's destiny. I think we got to use this in the attic.
So the gutter guy never called you?
He didn't.
But the pole saw gets some action today.
I think so.
All right.
Good test for it. Let's go see if it'll cut some 2x4s.
All right.
All right. On that last cut, the chain came off. I knew something wasn't right with this thing. All right, let's go downstairs and grab some tools.
Cool. All right, you nailing them off?
Yep.
Cool.
Jordan's gonna go downstairs and line me up From here, I can't tell if I'm in the opening. We want to make sure we're perfectly centered on that opening. So he's going to do that, and I'm going to stay up here and nail them off.
Up and to the left. More. Just come straight down. Perfect. Yup.
Hey, if you guys are enjoying the video, smash that like button for us and consider subscribing. I'm pretty hot up here. I think I've earned it.
You gotta go to your right just a tiny bit. Yeah, there you go.
It's amazing what you can do when you have to.
Hey, Emil.
How are you, sir?
Good. No, we didn't just use this in the attic.
Did it work?
Yeah.
All right, gang, we are ready to install these light bulbs. And look how clean this looks. Look at that nice clean hole that cutter made. And look at that hardware in there. That looks awesome. So the first step, I'm gonna put the baffle in because the bulb is too big for the baffle. Bulb goes in later, or the light engine goes in later. So I've done lots of these, never this type exactly. So this spring is gonna hook on that hole right there. There we go, just like that. And regarding these springs, this little part, I want that to be my little handle. That's the only thing I can grab on. So I'm just gonna spin it around because my hand's in here. I'm just gonna take that off, put it on that way, and now when I reach inside, I can grab that.
Cool.
I'll grab the wiring harness, pull it down. So when you're ready to put this lamp in, there's a couple things you need to know. You see how this tab is longer than this tab? It only go in the socket one way. When you look up in the socket, you'll see one side is larger than the other, so it's obvious that the bigger one goes on that side. Let's click that in place. I'm gonna go straight up, getting that harness to go above that fixture. All right, I'm in, and I'm gonna turn it clockwise, about 30 degrees, and it stops. That's the last one, bud.
All right.
Did you get that breaker turned on for me?
It's ready.
All right, you ready to try it out?
I'm ready.
Boom, look at that. This room has never had this much light. It just had that dinky little ceiling fan with the light kit. And you know what I'm noticing right away, gang? Look how even the light is throughout this whole area. I love the beam spread on these. The room is very well lit all the way around. Our spacing was perfect, I think. So the gang at Cooper Lighting might have panicked a little bit when they saw the thumbnail with me installing their lights with a pole saw. Rest assured, guys, you don't need one to install Cooper Lighting. These things were super easy to install and they look awesome. I just needed that thing to get that blocking out of my way. So if you guys can get down there below, smash that like button for us and let the team up at Cooper Lighting know that their products are in good hands with SledPack and that you enjoy the channel. We would appreciate that so much. Subscribe if you haven't already. Get down there, ask us a question, drop a comment, and we will see you on the next one.